There we go. And perfect. I should get an actual microphone to drop when he does that, just for future. Notes for Joe. So this is our third straight presentation today. Welcome into Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, everyone. My name is Jesse. I'll be your host for today. If you're joining us for the first time, and I know we do have some folks joining us for the first time, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And I've been saying it all September long. I'm going to say it again. I'm just so thankful that all you guys are back in the classroom. It's been a crazy 8 months. So welcome back, and we really appreciate you spending time with us in your first month, first week, what have you back, as we highlight cool scientists and explorers and places from around the globe. So all month long, we've been showcasing ocean plastic, and last week with our partner today, OceanWise, we did an awesome ocean plastic presentation. A lot of great fanfare on that. But today we're changing tack a little bit. We're still in the ocean, of course. We're joined by OceanWise in Vancouver, British Columbia. But today we are going to talk about everyone's favorite, least favorite, scariest, friendliest, whatever you want to think of it, animals in sharks. They're certainly my favorite creatures in the ocean. And so I'm going to bring in Daphne. She is an educator at Vancouver Aquarium at OceanWise, and she's going to talk to us today a lot about sharks. So Daphne, thank you so much for joining us, and take us away, blow our minds. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me today, Jesse. As you were saying, I am an educator here at OceanWise, which the Vancouver Aquarium is a part of. So we are an international not-for-profit organization whose mission is an ocean that is healthy and flourishing. So that includes those sharks as a huge part of that ocean. But by being in the Vancouver Aquarium today, that means that I am in Stanley Park in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And I am currently on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. So we are really, it's very wonderful that we can be here and to continue educating about how to protect the natural spaces around us, just as they have since time immemorial. So we are going to get to talk about these wonderful creatures, and you're going to get to share a little bit with me as well. I love hearing what you know too. But I do want to start off with what you think of when you think of a shark.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Miss D's class. Miss D's class is joining us in Bowmanville, Ontario. What do you guys think of when sharks come up to mind? What jumps to mind for you guys?
NST.
A less cool orca.
Less cool orca.
Less cool orca. The most unexpected answer we've ever got for that question. Thank you. Mr. Ramey's group, fourth grade in Kansas. What do you guys think of when you think of sharks?
Awesome.
Awesome. Yes. Okay, so we've got less cool orca and awesome. We're like awesome, guys. Miss Vanderloo, what do you guys think?
Megalodon.
Megalodon. We've got teeth for you. We're going to blow your minds in a while, okay? I'm excited. All right, so less cool orca is my favorite answer of all time. Daphne, take us away. Tell us what we should be thinking about when we think of sharks.
Amazing. Well, I love that those are the things you're going to. They are still cool. I know orcas are as well, but a lot of people still think of sharks as these scary creatures that they're going to hurt us. And can they hurt us? Yes, they've got those big teeth. They're really strong. They've got great senses. We'll learn more about those in a bit. But those sharks, they don't actually want to eat us. We're not the food that they're trying to go after. So they are commonly misunderstood. So I have a question for you. How many sharks, or well, humans, about less than 10 humans die from sharks every year, but how many sharks are killed by humans every year? What do we think?
Okay, I'm going to go back to Miss D's class. What do you guys think? How many sharks are humans?
Kira.
1,000.
1,000. Okay, good guess to start. Miss Vandermeer, I know you're new to this. I want to bring you guys in. If you have a thought, Miss Vandermeer class, how many sharks killed by people every year?
How many do you think, guys?
500.
500. Okay, we've gone down a little bit. We've halved it. Nice. And welcome in St. Catharines, by the way. Mr. Ramey's group, how many sharks?
At least 25.
At least 100.
At least 100. Oh, we're just going down. Okay, Miss Vanderloo, we'll come to you guys for our next question, but I'm guessing since the trend continues, it's going to be like 5 or 2. 1 shark killed by people every year. Tell us, Daphne, what do we think?
So sharks, we don't think of them as getting killed very often by us. A lot of the time, the fish that or animals caught in the waters, it's not something that we see with our own eyes. It happens behind our back. But there are over 100 million sharks killed every year by humans, compared to less than 10 humans killed by sharks. That's a big difference. And that is something really crazy and kind of gives these sharks a bad rep. So those orcas, we used to be scared of orcas too, and they've just gotten a bit of a, PR change. So they have a new look for us these days. We think of them as these wonderful, smart creatures. But why is it that we don't think that of sharks still today? And part of that could be through movies or social media, or maybe these sharks, we just need to learn more about them and understand them. So we're going to explore what is amazing about these sharks, why we should care more about them, and we should share how cool they are with everyone else. So I do have on my screen a black-tipped reef shark, which, if you haven't noticed, or maybe they haven't swam by, I have a few of those in the exhibit behind me today. This is our coral reef exhibit at the Vancouver Aquarium. So it is a tropical environment, a little bit warmer. But my favorite thing about sharks is that they're actually still fish. They're just a fish that doesn't have bones for their skeleton. Their skeleton is made up of something else. Is there a guess as to what that material is? What is a shark skeleton made of?
All right, well, let's check in with Miss Vanderloo's class. If you guys have a thought.
Yep.
What do you think a shark skeleton's made of, guys?
Cartilage.
Okay, we're killing today with answers. So that, I'm not even gonna try. That's it. You got it.
Yeah, that's right. Their skeleton is made of that cartilage. So maybe in your classroom, you can point to parts on your body that are made of cartilage.
Ooh, okay. What do we think? Miss D's class, I'm gonna see what you guys have. Any parts of your body made of cartilage? Miss D's class?
Any parts? Josh.
The bones that are in our ears and our nails.
Okay, so we got nails, we've got ears. Ears are good. Maybe not the bones, though. Again, we learned that sharks don't have those bones. They have cartilage instead, but ears is a good guess. How about Mr. Ramey's group? What do you guys think?
I think they're ears.
Ears, yeah. We are fans of ears together. We're all hearing very well today. I like it. Maybe another place in the face. Does anyone else have any thoughts? How about Miss Vandermeer's class? What do you guys think?
Anybody? Why is it?
No, you're going the wrong way.
Anyone?
No.
No, it's good. Yeah, Daphne, we're killing it today.
Amazing. That's right. We see that cartilage in the tip of our nose. We see it in our ears. So it's a bit more flexible, but it can still hold that shape. So the cartilage in the skeleton of these sharks is a stronger cartilage, and that's really cool. Our nails, they have keratin along with our hair, which is something you see in other animals in the ocean. So they've got this amazing skeleton, and the only part that is actually made of bone is those teeth that we mentioned. And you know what? I've brought some really cool teeth to share with you today. So I'm gonna leave for just a second and I'll bring it back. But take a guess as to which shark you think this might be from.
I don't know. I think we had some pretty good guesses earlier. I think one of the class, Miss Vanderloo's class screamed out, wow, we got Miss Vanderloo's class all like hands up. Okay, what do you guys think? What shark is this from that we're gonna have some cool teeth from?
A cookie cutter shark.
Oh, man, cookie cutter shark. I like that. Way to go. Knowing cookie cutter sharks exist. That's awesome. Okay. Any other guesses in the class?
Robia?
Daphne's building us up. Oh, I think it's bigger than a cookie cutter shark. Oh, it's bigger than a cookie cutter shark. Daphne, what do you got there? Holy.
I actually have a great white shark jaw. So hopefully you can see that pretty well on the screen. But this is a beautiful example of those amazing teeth that these sharks have. So you might notice the top teeth, not sure if you can see the bottom ones, they are actually a little bit skinnier than those top ones. So we've got different shapes of teeth, but they do have that serrated edge, sort of like a bread knife that helps them cut through things. So maybe you can imagine grabbing on with your shark teeth, grabbing onto maybe part of a seal, and they're going to shake their head back and forth to use that serration in those teeth to cut a chunk off. Because even though this is a big mouth, it would be hard to swallow that entire seal in one gulp. Now, this particular one is from a shark that was caught around Australia that was about just over 5 meters long. So that is quite a large, amazing shark. And white sharks are a great example of an amazing predator that we find in the ocean. So we're going to explore some of the traits or adaptations, things that help these animals survive that they have. So we're going to check out those adaptations that help them find this food. But I do want to share one of my favorite shark creatures. Let's see if anyone knows who this is.
All right, so we've got the video up. So I'm just going to bring in the audio for you guys. Well, we've got that live up. Ms. Vandermeer's Upside Down Classroom of Wonder.
Where are we?
Sorry, I'm just kidding with you.
We're working on
You guys
it.
know what shark this is?
Anybody?
Whale shark?
Whale shark. Man, we got like you guys are the smartest kids of all time today. This is very exciting. Awesome. Yeah, tell us.
Amazing. Yeah, so we have this wonderful whale shark here. I'll play the beginning again. And you can see it actually, even though it's not biting its prey, it's actually filtering plankton out of the water to eat. It still, because of its relatives, has tiny little teeth. It just doesn't tend to use them anymore. I think that's pretty cool. But let's see what else we can see. So this is another cool example of a crazy adaptation. This is a really cool shark that the green stuff next to it is actually not seaweed. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but this is a Fort Jackson shark. And the green thing next to it is actually its egg casing. Who would have thought? So these sharks, many of them lay their eggs in these casings. I have a few with me today. Hopefully you can see here. These ones are from a white spotted bamboo shark. Maybe it's better on this side actually. And they look just like that seaweed you might see around them. Great camouflage to protect your babies. But that's not the only adaptations they've got. How many senses do we have to figure out what's around us? What are some of those senses?
Miss D's class, what do you guys think? When you think of senses that people have, can you name them or how many do we have in total?
Grady.
5.
Say it loud.
Okay, I heard 5. What are they? What are our 5 senses?
Name them.
4.
Annecy, name them for me.
Touch, sight,
Touch?
smell, hearing, and and taste.
And taste they added.
Taste that. So perfect. So we've got all 5 senses. We've got touch, hearing, taste, smell, and sight. How many do sharks have, I wonder? Daphne, do you want to tell us or do we want to ask the classes what they think?
Maybe let's see if there's a guess.
Okay, how about Miss Vandeloo's class? How many senses do sharks have? You guys'
Milo?
hands have been up the whole presentation. I love it.
Milo? The guess is 6.
Ah, good guess. Are there any other guesses out there?
Noah?
7.
7.
7.
All right.
Okay, I like it.
Very good
Got 5
guesses.
to 7. Perfect.
Well, let me introduce the sixth sense of sharks. And that is, hopefully you can see all these little holes kind of on the bottom of their snout. And these are what we call ampullae of Lorenzini. So they've got all these little holes that can actually sense electromagnetic fields around them. So say there's an animal hiding nearby, it may be able to sense its heartbeat, that magnetic or that electrical pulse through the water. Super, super cool. And electricity travels farther in water, especially salt water. So that's a great sense to have being in the ocean. And they're not the only animals with that. But they do actually have a seventh sense, and that is their lateral line. So if you looked at a shark, you'd see lots of little holes going along the length of their body, and that is to sense movements in the water. So sort of vibrations that are happening. So imagine if there was a seal that was injured, it might be splashing around at the surface. A shark can sense that through that lateral line. So not only do sharks have 5 senses like us, they have those extra 6th and 7th senses. They're like superheroes. And they are sort of real life superheroes because in their environment, they are a predator. They're even towards the top of the predators, if not the top in their ecosystem. So, does anyone know what you would call a predator at the top of a food chain? Starts with an A.
That's a good question. We've had like rock star kids today. I'm not sure they're going to get this. I'm challenging all our classes. So Mr. Ramey's class, you guys will start with you. What's the predator at the top of its ecosystem called?
A great whale. A great.
So that's a specific animal. You're naming some specific animals that do fill that role. There's a name generally for any predator that's at the top of the ecosystem.
It's called a blank predator.
Yeah. You know what that word is, though? We can come back if you guys think of it. It is a tough one. I didn't learn this till I was older than you guys. So I'm going to check in with Miss D's class, but there's a student with like a hand straight out. So challenging you guys. What do you guys think?
Anasty, you put your hand up first.
Alpha predator.
Alpha predator.
Alpha predator?
That
That's
would totally make sense. That's another great A word to use. I'm looking for one slightly different.
Yeah. So Miss Vandermeer's class, what do you guys think? A word, slightly different.
Or upside down.
Here we go.
I like it.
Here we go.
Hey! So do you guys know an A word for a really top predator?
Anybody? They're so excited to see themselves.
Yeah, I know. Listen, that's half my fun of these presentations. So you can type it in the chat bar. In fact, we've had a few comments in the chat bar. We have one. So Susan Mills. So Miss Mills' class got it. So apex predator. That's the word I think you're looking for, Daphne. Yeah?
That is correct. So alpha also sounds really great, but apex is the term that we would usually use. So an apex predator is the top of its ecosystem. So that orca that we talked about at the beginning is a big apex predator as well. And sometimes we'll even eat sharks. So sometimes sharks are not the top predator in their ecosystem. The orca is. But when they are those top predators, they help balance their entire ecosystem. So I'd like to create a food chain with all of you. If you have a piece of paper and a pencil nearby, you're welcome to draw this food chain with us. But I want to know what a shark is trying to eat.
Shall we ask them while they're drawing it, Daphne, or shall we just leave them to wait for a second? Your call.
Maybe we'll see if somebody wants to take a break from drawing to have a guess.
Okay, so let's bring up some classes. Miss Vandermeer's class, you guys didn't get to go in the last round. So what are sharks eating? What are things directly that sharks are eating right under them in the food chain?
Fish and algae.
Algae? We have some very cool. I like it. I like the change of expectations. You guys are throwing me off all over the place. Awesome. Yes, guys, I like it. Mr. Ramey's group. What do you guys think? We got some hands up?
Meat.
Meat? What kind of meat? What kind of animals might they be eating?
Seal meat. Like,
Seal
and also fish meat.
Fish meat, fish meat, and seal meat. Please do keep adding meat to the end of all of that. That just makes it for me. So we've got algae, we've got seal meat, fish meat. I think we got some pretty good guesses so far, Daphne. What are our sharks eating today?
You know what? All of those are eaten by sharks, but in this food chain that we're creating, it's going to be some large fish. Although I know that many sharks around here in British Columbia or in other areas along the coast of the Pacific would eat seals. But what would those big fish be eating? Maybe something a little bit smaller that's similar. So maybe some smaller fish. And this one's creating a coral reef food chain. So these fish might be eating someone small that has little pinchers. And that would be lots of shrimp. In the tropics, we can see lots of shrimp. And does anyone know what the bottom of a food chain usually is?
Ooh, all
Love
right.
to hear from
Bottom
the
of food
classes
chain.
guesses.
Yeah, Miss Vandermeer's class. Totally right side up and totally thrilled. What's the bottom of a food chain, guys?
Lila? That's okay. Anyone? The bottom of the food chain? Elizabeth?
Plants. Really? That's a solid guess. That might be our set answer. Daphne, do you want another answer from the class, or is that good?
I think that's good. So in the ocean, we don't tend to have our typical plants on land, but we do have lots of algae, just slightly different. And so we do, in this case, have algae as the very bottom. They're that animal that doesn't get food from other living things. It's going to get its energy from the sun. So it actually uses photosynthesis like plants on land. But what if on our planet, which is happening, we lose those sharks? As I said, we're killing a lot of those sharks and those numbers are going down. If we lose those sharks, what's going to happen to the number of big fish? Maybe we can show some thumbs for if you think we're going to get more big fish, or thumbs down for less big fish if we lose those sharks.
We have a lot of thumbs down all over the place, Daphne. Very small.
Interesting. Well, in this case, we're going to have a loss of sharks, and that means a big predator of those fish has disappeared. When there's no one eating you, a lot more of you actually survive. So we actually get an increase in the number of big fish. Now, if we have lots of those big fish, what happens to the little fish? Do we get more or do we get less?
And we've got more thumbs down, thumbs down, but after it thumbs down maybe.
Yeah, so we're gonna lose those smaller fish, and even some of those shrimp may not survive those fish as well. And that leaves lots of space for this algae to grow and reproduce. There's no shrimp to help clean up the algae. And that actually is not great for an ecosystem. If you can imagine a fish in maybe a fish bowl, if there's too much algae, it turns green, and that can cause issues for that fish getting enough oxygen or just having healthy water around it. So those sharks are actually helping protect that ecosystem, and that is how they are these superheroes. But although they have 7 senses and they help protect these environments by being a top predator, there is a favorite shark of mine. I mean, I know I said other sharks are my favorite. They're all my favorite. But this one is super cool. Let us know maybe in the chat if you know what type of shark this is. And I'll tell you, it does have almost another superpower because it has its pectoral fins, the fins that attach to its chest muscles on the front, which you have too. These are your pectoral muscles. If you had fins like this, they help you turn as you swim. But this shark can use them to walk on land. Yes, you heard that correctly.
My God.
This shark can walk on land.
Okay, we got one group thinking it's a tiger shark maybe. Anyone on YouTube want to chime in too? We'd love to get your thoughts as well. I actually worked with this shark for years and I can't think of its name right now. So I'm fired. Tiger shark, anyone else? Miss D's class, what do you guys think? Any thoughts on what the shark could be called?
Ellie Mae. Bamboo shark? Bamboo shark? Anybody else?
Really, really good guess. It does look kind of similar to a bamboo shark.
Yeah.
This one is actually called an epaulet shark. And we actually do have one in our exhibit here. I'm not sure we'll be able to see it today, but they're super cool. They can actually walk from a little pool of water to pool of water. So super cool feature of these amazing sharks. Now they can't be out of water for too long as they still need oxygen from the water to survive. They are a fish that has gills to breathe with. But they're not the only shark to come out of the water. Just like that giant white shark jaw that I showed you, some of these sharks are so strong they can actually jump out of the water to get prey. So maybe some of you have seen a video of this before. If you have, let us know in the comments or throw us a thumbs up. And I have a cool video just to talk about some of these cool features again. You can see that amazing shape of these sharks that helps them get that extra speed to jump out of the water or just swim. And they've got those really, really strong muscles in that tail. You can see they still have those senses, those nostrils for breathing. And I know that there is, kind of a myth out there that sharks can smell your blood. Now, yes, they can, but it would need to be a very high concentration of blood, or they'd need to be really close to you. I know that lots of scientists that study sharks have a hard time attracting sharks with big barrels full of fish and fish blood. So, you know what? They got other things to do as well. I wouldn't worry much about that. So there's that ampullae of Lorenzini again, those extra senses that they have, including those amazing teeth we saw before. And I do want to share one of my favorite artifacts I have today. And that is something that is the size of my head. Does anybody know what could be the size of my head? It's a shark that does not exist today.
You're going to disappoint a lot of students that want it to exist today. Let's go to Miss Vandermeer's class. Thing on a shark doesn't exist as big as Daphne's head. Everyone's got a thought.
Aiden, one more time.
Megalodon.
Megalodon. Okay, you know what? Spoilers, let's do it. Show it.
All right, so it is from a megalodon, and it's actually the only part of the body that survives. Most of the body, that skeleton that's made of cartilage, will disappear really quickly. It degrades really fast, but not those bony teeth. So I have one of these amazing giant megalodon teeth with me today. And if you can't remember, the white shark teeth were, about that big. So that's a big difference in size. But would they have been the biggest animal on our planet? Is there a bigger animal today?
Yeah, so what are we thinking? I mean, a bigger animal that could exist today than Megalodon. Miss Vandermeer's class, what do you guys think?
What do you guys think?
Bigger than a megalodon. A blue whale. A blue whale.
A blue whale! God. Yeah. Seriously? Okay, Daphne can agree with me. I know Daphne's only done like a few presentations, relatively speaking, to all that I get to do, but literally I've never had a group of classes that have been so consistently getting the things right ever in the history of this program. So you guys rock.
It's awesome. That's right. Those blue whales are still larger than Megalodon would have been with the estimates that scientists have today. And those estimates on size are based off of those teeth and comparing them to other sharks, which I think is super cool. But I do want to just take a quick look at a few other cool sharks before we go into some questions. So I do have a local one. I hope that you can find it here. This is a little bit of an I Spy for you. So this is diving here. We get really green water at certain times of the year with plankton everywhere. So hopefully you got to see that really cool shark coming by. I'll pass it again. Hopefully it'll swing by. Super cool. So we do have sharks locally here in British Columbia, but there are some really cool species in the tropics still. So here is one of those, I'm sure you know in your classrooms, a hammerhead shark, which we find in tropical waters, but there used to be way more sharks here along the coast of BC. And one of the really cool ones is one that's almost the size of a whale shark. Maybe you can guess in your classrooms, but this one is actually a basking shark. And it eats that plankton like that whale shark. We used to have thousands of them around BC. And like we said at the beginning, they were misunderstood and thought of as a danger to people. Basking sharks, they don't want anything to do with us. So they are gentle creatures. And unfortunately, we killed so many of them. We haven't seen them in years. So hopefully those basking sharks that are in other parts of the world can start to migrate back towards British Columbia. I would love to see one. But we do have some really cool sharks that we can find, like one of the oldest or longest living animals on our planet. That is a Greenland shark that I have here. Maybe we can do a quick guess in the chat, or maybe take one or two guesses as to how old these Greenland sharks can live.
Okay, I like this one. So if someone gets this in the first thing, I'm just gonna walk away, okay? If anyone gets this in the first run, Mr. Ramey's class, what do you guys think?
1,000 years old.
2,000? I like it. I like where your head's at. We actually did get someone on YouTube get it like spot on instantly, which is hilarious. So way to go to them. Let's go to Miss D's class. What do you guys think?
Grady.
523.
523.
Very specific. I like it. Okay. Daphne, tell us, what are we thinking of with a shark? I like that people are like aiming very high. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And you know what? Great guesses all around. Scientists do believe that they can live over 400 years. So maybe there could be some of them that are over 500 years old. It's hard to know. But these are sharks living in the Arctic in super cold water, moving super slowly. So they become these really long-lived species. I think that is just so cool and mind-blowing they could survive so long. But just like we have all these ecosystems that need to survive even longer than those sharks, are there ways that we can help these ecosystems through helping protect those top predators, those apex predators, that are these sharks? What are some ideas on what we can do?
Okay. Let's go to Miss Vandermeer's class. Some thoughts on how we can protect sharks, guys. Come on in.
Lila?
Stop killing them.
Stop killing them. That's pretty straightforward. I like it. That is a very good one. We talked about 100 million sharks every year, so that would be a huge deal. Miss Vandermeer's class, what do you guys think?
Hey, Benedict, come here. Nice loud voice.
By not killing the sharks and putting the habitat in a safe place.
We're protecting their habitat. We're not killing them directly. Those are some really good answers. I think that actually leads into a lot of stuff that Daphne can touch on. So go for it.
Yeah, those are great ideas, everyone. And you know what? For us to be supporting that and giving those ideas to others is a great way to help. Another one that's super easy for you to do with your family, even today, is to be aware of where your food comes from. And this goes for food that you get from the land as well as from the ocean. Here, at least in Canada, we have lots of participating grocery stores and restaurants that may have this symbol. And this symbol is our stamp of approval from OceanWise saying, that's a healthier choice for the ocean. If you see that logo, that is a safer choice for all these sharks and their habitats. means that less of them are accidentally getting killed when we fish, and that we are helping protect those ecosystems, like you said. So great ideas, everyone. I would love to hear more of your ideas and any of your questions today.
Cool. Well, Daphne, thank you so much for such an awesome presentation. If you want to end your screen share just so you can see us a little better, you're welcome to. I don't know how your computers are set up, but you're perfect for that. We got 4 classes, as you know, joining us from across Canada and the US, a whole bunch more on YouTube. So over 150 kids tuning in. So thank you to all of you. Really appreciate it. Love to see your questions on YouTube as well. But let's start with Ms. Vandermeer's class, joining us for the first time ever in St. Catharines, Ontario. So come on in, guys, and if you have a question for us to kick us off, go for it.
Any questions on sharks, guys? Elizabeth?
Sharks.
Baby?
You know what a goblin shark is?
Hey, what?
Do you know what a goblin shark is?
A goblin.
Audio's a little off. Oh, could you tell us about goblin sharks? Is that the question?
Yes.
Oh, goblin sharks. You know what? I don't know too much about goblin sharks, except for that they are super, super cool looking. I don't actually have a picture right now to share with you, but they are really, really cool and can live a little bit deeper than some other sharks. But there are some really cool deep water sharks out there.
There are, like Greenland sharks, deep water shark, 6-gill sharks, really cool. I'm going to really quickly pull up a goblin shark picture for everyone so you guys can check this out with me. Let's do it. So this is a goblin shark. They are freaky looking. So there you go. You can check that out more when you guys get home. But a fantastic animal. It's funny how often goblin sharks get brought up in these talks.
It might be a fun Halloween costume.
Yes, that's instead of Groot or Black Panther, you can go as a goblin shark next year. Miss D's class in Bowmanville, do you have a question for us? Come on up.
Carson.
How many different kinds of sharks do you guys have there?
Oh, how many different kinds of sharks at the aquarium, Daphne?
You know what? I think we might have 2, maybe 3 types right now. Maybe 4. We do have some spiny dogfish that are local to British Columbia. So they get about kind of 1.5 meters long. They don't look like a dog, I know. But they do look like a little shark. We do have those black tip reef sharks in here, an epaulet shark, and then I'm not sure who else we have in here right now. Sometimes it kind of ranges who's in the exhibit or not. But we have had bamboo sharks before.
They are super cool. We also have a beautiful stingray doing laps behind you. So if you want to check out, I think we've done stingray talks before. So all the Ocean Wise talks we've ever done on our YouTube channel, you can check them all out there. They're awesome. So I encourage you to do that. Before I go to Mr. Ramey's class, also in Kansas, I want to check in with Ms. Gertson's class in Bueller on YouTube. So they want to know, what is the most interesting thing you've ever experienced at work, Daphne?
Oh, the most, oh man. That's a good question. I mean, I've had lots of crazy interactions with animals. I have done other positions here as well. So I used to work with our mobile programs, education programs. So I used to travel around British Columbia, Alberta, and even across Canada in 2017 to Nova Scotia. So I've been able to visit so many different people all over, and that is by far the coolest part of my job that I've been able to do, as well as now virtually connecting with folks. But so, I think seeing a crab molt is probably the coolest thing I've seen.
Awesome. Very cool, Daphne. All right, let's go to Maze and Candace, Mr. Ramey's class. You guys have a question for us? Come on up.
Why do some sharks have to keep swimming to breathe?
Nice question.
That's a great question. So there are a few shark species that are able to sort of move their mouth to bring water in and push it through their gills to breathe. But you're right, most sharks have to keep moving to breathe, and that is that otherwise they can't get that flow of water and continue to breathe. Some scientists think that that's because the ocean used to have more oxygen in it, so it wasn't as much of an effort to get that oxygen out of the water. You could hang out more, not have to move quite as much.
Yeah, nice. Good question, guys. All right, Ms. Vandermeer's class joining us in Ottawa, our lovely capital. You guys have a question for us? Go for it.
How many types of sharks are in the world?
Ooh, the whole world.
You know what? I'm not actually sure. I wonder if that's on my little fact sheet here. Because you know what? Even I need to have a sheet to remember some of these facts. There are so many cool things about sharks. But I can't remember. There's definitely over 100 for sure.
Yeah, so when I looked it up really quick, because I can do that while you're trying to answer, over 400 species of shark in the world. A lot of them are really, really similar. You look at some of the reef sharks, they're very close together, but then you get these wild things like whale sharks, cookie cutters, great whites, and more. Over 400 species of shark. Very cool, guys.
Very cool.
All right, I'm going to take a question from you. In fact, we're almost near the end of the broadcast, unfortunately, so what we'll do is highlight ways that classes can send in more questions when we're done. But I want to take in this question from St. Thomas, Ontario, by Ms. Mahar's class. What is a shark's natural predator, and what's the greatest danger to them?
Good question. I would say predator being killer whales or orcas. So around South Africa, they have found orcas eating great whites. They especially like the really fatty livers that sharks have. That oil in their liver helps them stay more neutrally buoyant because they don't have a swim bladder like fish. And then things that are really harming sharks, I would say climate change or global warming causing a change in their ecosystem and the pressures on them, as well as fishing. I would say overfishing would be really huge.
Yeah. Some of the benefits of these is that there's so many ways that you guys can take part at home to make a positive difference. Now, Daphne got a chance to talk about that in the broadcast as well, but education.ocean.org, the website of OceanWise, has so many more ways you can get involved, so many amazing activities for kids. And we talked specifically about sustainable seafood in the broadcast. So again, OceanWise really is the elite ocean organization in Canada and one of the best ones in the world. So you can look for that symbol, check out their website, and learn how you can make positive choices at grocery stores, restaurants, and more. And we hope you guys do that. And if you do, share it with us. We'd love to hear about it on Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants Twitter, OceanWise on Twitter, and more. What I want to do now is we have more questions than we can possibly answer. It's crazy. There's too many kids that are too excited. So Daphne, where can kids go to learn more about what you guys are doing and learn more about how they can take action to help save sharks?
Amazing. You know what? We've got lots of great resources on our education page, like you shared. As well, if you were to go to .org/learn online, I believe. We have lots of resources there, and that also links to different pages within the education resources. So that's a really cool place to go, but also talk to friends. The more that you can share with others, the more you can share those great ideas. But there's lots to do, and if you would like to message us with questions on Twitter, or if you'd like to message us with our email, which maybe you can put in the chat there, you can let us know your questions.
Yeah, actually, what is your email? I will put it in the chat for everyone, but I don't remember what it is offhand. I can make a banner for it really quick. So
online.learning@ocean.org.
Learning@ocean.org. Online.learning@ocean.org. This is our guy? Yes?
Yeah. And our
Cool.
Twitter is OceanWiseEDU. So feel free to message us with questions on Twitter.
Perfect. I'll bring that up too for everyone so you guys can check those out. And they are super responsive. I can attest to that. So if you have more questions, do check out those resources. They're really cool ways of asking questions, finding out more. Daphne, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you all so much for having me too. And it's amazing how much you already know about sharks, everyone. I love it. Keep it up.
Coolest classes ever. Love it. You guys were awesome. So I'm going to bring in everyone for the broadcast, as you know, Daphne. So Miss Vandermeer, Miss D, Mr. Ramey, Miss Vandaloo, you could join me in saying
All right, say bye, everyone.
Thank you.